So let's, if we forward 10 years into the future, I mean, there are apps out there that basically create a corporate headshot for you just from like a phone selfie you take. It completely relights your face and do everything that you would have otherwise had to do in the studio or, do you think or how do you think photo education will change? Do you think there's still going to be a need in like 10 years time, for instance, for people to really know how to light? Is that still going to be a thing or?
Yeah, absolutely. There's still people making cyanotypes or bromoils or things like that. The techniques may become more niche, but they're not going to disappear. There will be people who still want to do everything themselves, and there will be people who want to do everything at the click of a button, and there will be people in the middle, and that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just how the world is at that moment in time. That's how it goes in 10 years' time. That's how it goes. But you have to find your comfort zone and stick with what you know. I mean, I hated the darkroom. I really couldn't wait to give up the darkroom. It was absolutely the worst place, but I had to be there because that was the only option back in the day. And the minute I got Paint Shop Pro, I was like, well, that's it. Don't sell my darkroom stuff. That went immediately. Let's buy a computer. Let's do Paint Shop Pro. As it turned out, that was a stroke of genius. Worked out very, very well. Maybe embracing AI and becoming an AI expert would be a good idea for photographers that want to make a niche for themselves. I suspect it'll be less than 10 years down the line.
Most likely, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the beta version, and it can create images of people that are so realistic. I could not tell you the mood board images I was creating weren't real. And some of them were just like, that's amazing. If I'd taken that photo, I'd be thrilled. But I didn't take it. I didn't have any input into it. It's a nice picture, and I didn't get the enjoyment. It didn't fill me with that kind of, wow, look, I did that. I put that light there. I actually took that photo. I talked to that real person. We can talk about it. We can share it. We have memories. I didn't get that from pressing a button. I just got a great looking image, but without of any of the emotional part.
And I think that's super important. Like, I get this question all the time, especially in relation to headshots in particular. It's like, oh, what's the point in like paying a headshot photographer if you could just use an app, for £1.99 a year or whatever, and you just, you upload a selfie of yourself and it comes out with a perfect corporate headshot. The thing is like, well, as long as, first of all, as long as you can, there's a number of things. One, if you can't tell the app that you're shooting a divorce lawyer as opposed to a nurse, for example, then the whole storytelling part of that image goes down the drain because all you just get is a generic headshot. But really what you want to do is create more of a backstory to that image. You want to communicate something in that image, like who that person is, and that's why you would light them differently and you would shoot them differently. That's what you do as a headshot photographer. But the other thing is that there's a process to it. And just like people still buy handmade shoes as opposed to shoes that were made in a factory in China, let's say, and they're like, they cost a fraction of the price, there's still an audience that really just like the process.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to shift your business model. Is the key, isn't it? So if you're a headshot photographer that's just doing basic portraits of passport type photos, your photo booths were your competition, and now your AI is going to be your competition. You probably need to rethink your business model. If you're an educator making educational stuff, then there's going to be AI education out there. It's going to be a thing. It's already there. If you at the moment mostly text based. But I'm sure there'll be a virtual Kirsten and a virtual Gavin one day, and we can sit back and do absolutely nothing. But that won't be the same. It won't quite have that human element. Maybe we'll go back to being actually in-person events. Maybe that'll be the key. You can have a big audience in it. You can have a theater full of people, and maybe that'll be the experience that will be the new normal. Who knows? It's exciting times and also scary times.
Yeah. And of course, I said this from my own experience because I have, like I mentioned earlier, I have witnessed you teach live. I can only highly recommend if I don't know, anybody happens to be at next year's photography show, for example, which I'm presuming you're going to be at.
Oh yes, booked before I left the last one. So yeah,
cool. So yeah, make sure you head over to the Godox stand. I guess that's where you're going to be.
That's right.
Because it's amazing. You walk through the hall, and when there's a massive crowd of people, it's usually you or Tommy on the Godox stand teaching.
Yeah, I'm Tommy's warm up guy from time to time, so I try to drag a crowd in for him. But yeah, I mean that's it, isn't it? I mean, if you do get to go to a trade show, bring your camera along. But I mean, we're also LED lighting is future as well. So nowadays, what we found was more and more people just bringing their phones and walking away with incredible photos. Education for flash is changing, but that's possibly another conversation.
Yeah, I mean that's huge. I mean, especially the phone photography is another thing. Have you ever thought about like creating videos around iPhone? What's that called? iPhoneography?
I don't even have an iPhone, so I can't really go down that line. I have done some stuff with mobile phones before. Very early on, I had an Honor mobile phone. Honor actually sent me one, which had 2 cameras. Can you imagine that? 2 cameras. It was mind-blowing technology. But the technology in camera phones is incredibly good. Yeah, and then if you go down the LED lights, then do you need to know about flash? Yeah, you do if you want to do certain things. But the technology in LEDs is doing what flash did a couple of years ago, and that is rapidly expanding, which is another great area for education. So if you're looking for something to educate yourself in and educate others in, then get in the curve of LED lighting. That's good film. Yeah. Yes, I can remember doing film and getting 2 Christmases on my roll of film, one at either end. That's how long it could be between taking the photo and actually getting them back again. Now, yeah, I mean, it's incredible. It's really good. I love all the young photographers who get their film cameras and they are like, oh, film, it's fantastic. It's this wonderful experience. No, it was a horrible experience. I think when it was your only option, it was absolutely terrible.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, then press here for the full episode in glorious Technicolor. Hey, and don't forget to subscribe.